Hari Om. This is a talk from the book Awaken Inside Yoga Meditation by Reverend Jagannath Carrera. Yoga and Religion. Is yoga a religion? It is a reasonable question. Students can be confused about it. They read or are told that yoga is not a religion, yet when they walk into their local yoga studio, they often see an altar with Hindu deities on it and are treated to chanting the names of deities such as Ganesh or Durga. If it is not a religion, is it a way of life or a science? The answer is not so simple. We first have to define what we mean by religion. The Latin root for the word religion is religare, to bind back to. The word is used by different people to refer to different realities. Even scholars and theologians don't agree on a definition of religion. For most of us, the word immediately brings up ideas of a supreme being. Yet there are faith traditions, like Buddhism and Taoism, that have no such ideas. Even so, most people still consider them religions. To understand what religion is, we need to look beyond the usual notions. Human beings have always tried to make sense of the world they live in. They pondered over unseen forces that determined vital aspects of their lives, such as climate, reproduction, and disease. They believed, as we do today, that if they understood these forces, they might be able to control, influence, or cooperate with them to their benefit. They were looking to minimize suffering by avoiding the unexpected and troublesome. In other words, they wanted to be happy. In their quest to uncover universal laws, some thinkers explored the nature of the cosmos and the world around them. The same explorations continue today as such sciences as biology, astronomy, and physics. Others looked within for answers to the mystery of life. Their focused inquiries brought them glimpses of life that transcend the ever-changing world of nature. In those moments, their concerns slipped away and they enjoyed a taste of something eternal, a timeless state that tied together all aspects of life, a point of ultimate harmony. The paths of outer and inner explorations are not incompatible, they are complementary. They investigate the same reality from different viewpoints. The common ground of science and spirituality is the search for the universal laws that govern life. This search and the truths it revealed is religion. It is not limited to one faith tradition, but common to all of them. With this in mind, we can understand why some spiritual paths are considered religions even though they do not have a belief in a supreme being. All of us are seekers, trying to live according to principles that will put our lives in alignment with universal forces. We are trying to go with the flow. If you defined religion in this way, yoga is a religion. If religion is defined as institutions, as organized sects and dogma, then yoga is not a religion. How you answer the question is your decision. Yoga, like religion, is a personal quest to end suffering by direct experience of a transcendent truth that brings supreme peace and that is a point of unity for all objects and events. We can learn a great deal from scholars, institutions, or theologians, but it would be a shame to limit our understanding of yoga and religion to academic definitions, especially in the matters of spirit. Words can get in the way of understanding. Using words as a journalist or scientist does not deprive the teaching of their intended meaning. Spiritual truths are often best expressed poetically rather than literally. Poems invite us to enter and participate into the poet's vision. The type of analysis that is suited for science is not appropriate for poetry. It's the same with the faith traditions. Only through immersing ourselves in the practices are inner truths revealed. We'll understand the insights that teachings point to when we live, walk, wrestle, and dance with them. Experience is not only the best teacher, it is the only teacher. Too often, literal views of teachings are used to exclude people. If a person does not fit someone's notion of a true believer, that person is liable to be considered an outsider, a threat to the status quo. The history of religions is filled with people and nations fighting over ideas of God. But when we look at the same lives of self-realized individuals, the prophets, sages, and saints, we find deep agreement on all the essentials. Of course, institutions do provide advantages and benefits. They help preserve a master's teachings and have the resources to extend their good works to many. Perhaps the most accurate way of defining yoga as it relates to religions is this. What we know by the name of yoga is the same as the essence of all faith traditions. To be considered a house, a building contains certain essential elements: a foundation, walls, a door, and a roof. The number of doors and windows, square footage, the architectural style, and landscaping can vary. Similarly, all faith traditions contain the same essence. There is one universal transcendent truth that is beyond name, form, and thought. That truth, fully present within every individual, can be realized by a pure heart, a still, clear mind. Purity of heart is attained by leading a selfless, dedicated life. From yoga's standpoint, there is no conflict between the teachings and practices of yoga and the exercise of anyone's faith tradition. When the vast library of yoga teachings and techniques is distilled, we discover a description of the goal of yoga that is common sense spirituality, one that would be difficult to argue against. This is a quote from Sri Swami Satchidananda. The goal of yoga is to have an easeful body, a peaceful mind, and lead a useful life. This definition is not only appealing and simple, it is dead-on accurate. Certainly, there are sects, institutions, theologians, and clergy that would disagree regarding yoga's universality. We should respect and not impose our views on others. Followers of any faith tradition, if they go deep into their path, will discover what we call yoga. No one needs to convert to or from yoga. There are many paths, but only one truth. Regarding yoga and Hinduism, if you look at a textbook of Hinduism, you'll find yoga listed as one of the 6 schools of philosophy. This might surprise those who only know of yoga as physical practices or a way of life with no connection to a faith tradition. A deeper understanding of what we call Hinduism reveals that it is really something quite different from what we might think. Even its name is misleading. There are no scripture that uses the word. It is not a monolithic school of thought. if it has no founder and no equivalent of a pope, its more correct name is Sanatana Dharma, the eternal truth. Its most fundamental principles include the three we discussed as the essence of all faith traditions, and adds a fourth. There is one universal transcendent truth that is beyond name, form, and thought. This truth permeates every aspect of creation and beyond. This truth, present within every individual, can be realized by anyone. The requirements for realization are a clear, tranquil mind, a pure heart, and a dedicated life. A person who has experienced that truth is qualified to guide others on the path that they took. Examination of the above principles makes it clear that what we commonly refer to as Hinduism is not limited to India. Its sacred texts or its practices, any of the teachings that can bring us to the direct experience of the transcendent truth is accepted and revered in Sanatana Dharma. As for a yoga's place in Hinduism, it is not incorrect to say that yoga is the mystical aspect of Sanatana Dharma. Its emphasis is on practice and a personal experience of the truth of its teachings rather than the dogma and ritual. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Peace, Peace, Peace. May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light.